My 28 male fiancé, 27 female, just asked for an open relationship after 3.5 years together. I do not think I want one, but she said the worst thing I could say is no. Now I am stuck with an ultimatum. I'm using a throwaway account. I'm not really sure what to do, Reddit. Like the title says, my fiancé brought up the idea of entering into an open relationship today after being together for 3.5 years, and I feel pretty blindsided. There may be another person, 20 male, involved. Up until now, we have had a completely monogamous relationship in terms of sex. Today, she texted me asking if I've ever considered an open relationship. I told her that I had thought about it only as a thought exercise, but never actually considered it before. She then told me she had been thinking about it seriously a lot lately, and that we should go to couples therapy to talk about it. She said that 80% of monogamous relationship involve infidelity, so maybe we should just have an open relationship to be proactive. I said that sounds like giving each other permission to cheat because it was bound to happen anyway, and she agreed, in a nutshell. She basically said that this was something she doesn't think she can live without and be happy in a relationship with me. This feels like an ultimatum where I can let her sleep with other people or we can split up. In response to this, I asked a lot of questions. I asked what part of our relationship was lacking, what brought this up now, etc. Then I remembered that she had recently met a friend at a bar and had gotten dinner with him. I only found this out later because they were texting a lot, and I asked her who it was and explained that going to dinner with a guy without telling me was a big no-no. She agreed and said it wasn't a date and that she was just excited about a new friendship. I brushed it off and forgot about it until now. I asked her directly today if she was bringing up the idea of an open relationship because she developed feelings with this person, and she said yes. I feel totally violated. I was open to the idea of therapy and discussing why she thinks she needs an open relationship and making personal changes to fulfill more of what she needs. But this feels completely unfair. First of all, I feel like this should have all been brought up before we were engaged. She knew when I was going to do it, but maybe that's beside the point. I think my biggest problem with all of this is that she has developed feelings for someone else, and it has progressed to the point where she wants my permission to sleep with him. We basically finished conversation today totally pissed off at each other. What should I do here, Reddit? I am having a hard time gauging what a reasonable reaction here would be. I am extremely committed to this relationship and want to preserve it. I might not be thinking clearly, but all of this open relationship talk sounds like an excuse to let her sleep with other people and feel okay about it. Can you please help me? I'm happy to hear any advice you have. I'm at a loss. Before the second story, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel. It's just one click for you, but it will be very pleasant for me. Thank you. Let's listen to the second story. My girlfriend, female 20, asked me, male 23, for an open relationship spontaneously. So yeah, never thought I'd actually be typing this type of shit, but I need to understand my own feelings, and this is a way for me to express them. My girlfriend and I have been together for about 2 years. Today she called me when I was in my car heading home, telling me she had something important to tell me when she came to visit later in the evening. I had almost anticipated something like this the entire week. She felt off, not as verbally affectionate as she used to be, but I chalked it up to me being crazy and/or she's being anxious. She has anxiety, so I asked her if it was serious. She said yes. Oh boy. She was adamant that she wanted to talk to me face to face. I rejected this idea. To me, if you can't tell someone something rough over the phone, then face to face wouldn't help much. So I insisted that she go ahead and get it over with. She asked if I was willing to opening up the relationship. To say that I was disappointed and sad is apt. I asked why. Was there someone else? Someone that she's fallen for or is attracted to? She recently got a female friend when she hadn't had many before. Something I supported and still do support her doing. Friends are necessary, but she said no. There was no one in particular. She then went on to express, after hearing how troubled I was with this news, that this wasn't something that she actively wanted, but it was something she felt in her gut she should ask. What? To which I responded with something along the lines of, "If you did not want to do it, why did you ask me? I wouldn't ask you for a free pass to sleep with someone even if she made me horny, because I don't want to do it." To which she responded that she doesn't know why, just that she needed to ask, that she didn't want to do it, yet had to express the question, that if losing me is the consequences, then she wouldn't have asked. To me, asking for an open relationship in a monogamous has always been relationship killers. From every case I've seen, if they're not on the same page, they break up. I told this to her and said that I would prefer if she didn't come over tonight or the rest of the weekend so that I have time to process this. She insisted she come over. I said no. I wouldn't be able to think clearly. Now I don't know what to think or do. I love her deeply. She is gorgeous, funny, adorable, and very caring. I told her to speak with a therapist to get help with interpreting her feelings and desires, that if this is due to a sexual curiosity that she felt she needed to do, then I'd support her choice because I don't want her to limit who she is because of me, and that although I can't stay with her, she is free to experiment with whoever she wants, whatever makes her happy. I just won't be there to see it. I had to reassure her that this doesn't make her a horrible person or make me hate her, because I don't. Sorry for the wall of barely comprehensible rambling. I just don't know what to do. Edit 1. I re-invited her over in order to have a face-to-face conversation about this and whether the trust can be repaired. I'm not as turmoiled as I was when I wrote this, since it had just happened, and I'm willing to understand what she was coming from. Edit 2. So basically, me and my girlfriend has now spoken for 2 hours, wherein I am laying down the problem. First thing I ask is if there is anyone else who is the reason for why she's asking this. That if she's asking this because she wants to have sex with someone else, then it will be the end of our relationship. She denied this. I looked through her phone and there wasn't anything that said otherwise. So I asked her what caused this. Was it her new friend? She denied it. She said that the reason for asking is because she feels guilty, that I am with her when she is a total mess. That asking for an open relationship is giving me an out or giving me sex that I haven't received with her. This isn't the first time she's asked this. She did once before, a few months back, ask if I wanted to sleep with other women because she doesn't give enough sex to satisfy me. I replied that she doesn't need to give me sex. If she wants sex, that's great, but I won't resent her for not giving it. If she doesn't want to have sex, yet gives it anyway, then that is basically rape, which I don't want her to be subjected to. So that sort of checks out with previous behavior. She expressed her deep insecurities with how she feels that I should break up with her, both over this and over the fact that she feels she is neglecting me, that she's stressed due to being unemployed, her attention given to her horse, and then me, that the search for employment and her horse makes her not pay enough attention towards me, that she believes I deserve better because of it. She has asked me before to break up with her. She has anxiety and deep insecurity issues stemming from abuse by an ex and likely a probable bipolar disorder. It is important to mention that she and I haven't seen nor barely talked to each other in 2 weeks. I stated that a relationship is a two-way street and that it is as much my responsibility to visit her after work, something I had not done, so her asking for an open relationship was to preemptively attack what she saw as an inevitable breakup. But for us, or rather me, to have the ability to sleep around while still being with me and in love with me, I laid out some ground rules for how this is going to go if she wants to continue our relationship, which she stated was what she wanted. That she has to go to therapy, she has to get checked out for bipolar disorder, as her behavior has always been very big highs with very depressive lows. If she does have the diagnosis, she does, then she needs to be receiving medication for this to work. This isn't the first time she has had dramatic depressive moments, but I don't want to go through this with her again. I stated that her asking for me to effectively cheat on her was insulting. More so than the request for an open relationship, I can deal with her being poly. It isn't for me, but you do you. I don't like the idea of my agency. My decisions being done for me. I will choose whether to be with her. She doesn't get to decide whether I want to or not. She can decide to dump me. That's fine. That's her prerogative. At least that would be her decision and her choice. She apologized and understood that if she does it again, I'll break up with her, because frankly, that was not okay. Edit 3. Doubt anyone is interested or will ever read this, but she and I took a week off communicating to see what we feel for each other. I doubt our relationship will survive, and that makes me sad. Edit 4. Our relationship has ended, and regardless of this shit above, I'm still devastated. Third story. Confused about the open relationship my 27 male fiancé, 25 female, pressured me to accept. Hey everyone, I've been in this situation for the past few months, and I'm having a bit of a hard time understanding what's going on. I've read some other posts about open relationships on this subreddit, so I know what most people are going to say, but I promise that this is not like those other situations, so please read to the end. I'm genuinely confused and completely lost right now, and I'm having a really hard time figuring out where I stand. This is probably going to be pretty long, so I really appreciate it if you can read until the end. Some backstory. My fiancé and I were neighbors growing up and have been best friends since I was 8 years old and starting dating when I was 15 and she was 14. We have been together ever since without ever breaking up, and we got engaged about 1.5 years ago, although we haven't really been in any rush to get married. Admittedly, part of the reason why I haven't been as enthusiastic about actually getting married is because of this whole situation. Also, it's important to note that since we've been together for so long, we were each other's first kiss, relationship, and pretty much everything else. Now, on to the situation. So in January of this year, she sat me down and told me that she thought it would be a good idea to try having an open relationship, at least until we got married. I was very taken aback and pretty hurt about the fact that she would even consider it, much less suggest it. I've always thought our relationship and our sex life were pretty great, and we'd never discussed anything like that before, even during the year of long distance we did between my college graduation and hers before we started living together 3 years ago. I initially said no right away because I didn't want to ever think about her being with someone else, and I also wasn't really interested in being with someone else either. I always thought we had a sort of fairy tale love story, and I didn't want that to be tainted, which I know is a pretty weird way to think. Anyway, after I said no, she worked really hard to convince me over the next few days. She brought up how I'd get to explore other people and kinks. Although we've never been shy about exploring stuff before, she also made a big point about how she felt bad, about how she had denied me the opportunity to experience what it was like to be with other people. The entire time, she only ever talked about how good it would be for me and never said anything about how it would be good for her. At the time, I thought it made sense since she was trying to convince me, and I figured she was probably projecting her feelings on me. I probably should have just left the relationship and broke off the engagement at that point, but I truly believe that this woman is the love of my life. I was afraid that she might end up leaving me if I didn't give her what she wanted, so in the end, I accepted it. However, I made sure to set ground rules involving other partners, mainly that we can never bring them home. We aren't allowed to catch feelings. We aren't allowed to spend more than one night at a time outside of the home. We must always use protection, and that we must be open and honest about everything. Basically, we have to tell each other what exactly we were planning to do with someone else and what happened. She was more than happy to accept these rules, and I tried to not feel so weird about it. Now here's where things get weird. I know most people assume that she started going out on dates or already had someone lined up, but that didn't happen at all. In fact, nothing changed. She wasn't going on dates, she wasn't hooking up with anyone, and as far as I could tell, she wasn't on any sort of dating apps. Our sex life stayed the exact same, maybe even improving slightly, and we were still having sex almost every other day. I know some people might think that she was just doing things behind my back, but we both work from home and we rarely spend more than an hour apart from one another. Our friends jokingly call us codependent all the time because we never go anywhere without the other unless it's something like a doctor's visit. I've also used her phone to do random things and have never seen a dating app installed. At first, I thought that she might just be waiting for me to get started, but even when I did start looking for dates a few months in, she still didn't start herself. She'd actually ask me pretty frequently if I'd found anyone yet, and always seemed disappointed when I said I hadn't. I didn't have a whole lot of luck at first, although I also wasn't really trying all that hard. About 3 months into really starting to try though, I finally got a date with another woman, and my fiancée seemed really excited for me when I told her. I went out with her, and although she seemed like a fun person, I was thinking about my fiancée the entire time, and I couldn't really get into it. I was checking her location the entire time, nervous that she might be out with someone else, but she was just sitting at home. Once I came back from the date though, she asked me all about it, and we had some of the best sex we'd ever had that night. I sort of got paranoid after that, and I ended up checking our Ring doorbell. She hadn't left and no one had come over, as far as I could tell. I thought maybe she might start looking for other partners as well, but she still didn't. She seemed pretty disappointed when I told her that I wasn't going out with the other woman again though, and even pressed me a bit to try seeing her again, but I told her to let it go, and she was fine with it. At this point, I was getting really confused why she hadn't even tried to start seeing someone else. My fiancé is very attractive and frequently gets hit on by other men whenever we go out. I used to always joke with her about how she was so out of my league, and I was lucky that we got together when we were so young because I'd have no chance with her now, but I stopped when she started getting upset with me every time. Still, I continued looking for other women using some dating apps, and eventually I found another woman who was interested in me. We went out again, but I pretty much felt the same way. This time, however, we ended up kissing her, and I felt really weird at the end of it, like it was just wrong. My fiancé was once again very happy for me when I came home, so I decided this time I'd tell her I was going to try going out on a second date with the woman. I was thinking that maybe if I told my fiancé I had sex with another woman, she would start exploring her options herself. I did end up going on that date, but I didn't actually have sex with her. I just went over to her house after dinner, talked for a bit longer, and went home. Once again, when I got home, my fiancé was all excited about hearing about the date, and once again, we had really great sex that night. I did feel bad about lying to her about having sex with another woman, but at this point, I was so confused, I was just trying to figure something out. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, things have been really great in our relationship and there hasn't been any problems. Besides my fiancé once again pressuring me to go out with that other woman again. I've told her that I'll think about it, even though I'm not really interested in doing so. However, the thing that's really getting to me is how she still hasn't made any effort to look for anything on her side, even now. I'm just really confused by this whole thing. Why would she pressure me into an open relationship if she isn't interested in finding someone else? Is she doing it all behind my back and hiding it? I really don't understand how she would, but maybe I'm missing something. What do I do here? Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a like and write your opinion in the comments. See you soon.